This is why history was one of my favourite subjects at school. Hello my faithful watchers and welcome to my review of Doctor Who Series 11 Episode 6 Demons of the Punjab, written by Vinay Patel and directed by Jamie Childs. As usual, there will be spoilers for this episode, so check it out first and then come back here. Also, I apologise if the lighting looks different. My bedroom light is broke, so we have to use natural light. Get it off me. Now anyway, on to the episode. Whilst celebrating her grandmother's birthday, Yaz is keen to know more about her history and heritage. The Doctor, rather reluctantly, decides to take Yaz, Ryan and Graham to India in 1947 at the time of its partition that threatens to pull her family apart. However, demons begin appearing in the Punjab and the Doctor and co must discover what they want while also discovering a marriage unknown to Yaz's family. Now before I talk about the episode, I feel I should mention the previous connection, if you want to call it that I have with Vinay Patel. Now when the writers were announced for Series 11, I had no idea about any of them, until last month when, as part of my university course, I had to see a play called Sticks and Stones, which was written by him. Now watching the play did get me excited for his episode, and I even congratulated him on Twitter after I saw the play and told him I was looking forward to watching Demons of the Punjab. Now without going into too much detail, Sticks and Stones is about a misfiring joke getting out of hand in the workplace, and technology just makes it even worse. And there's also themes of uncertainty about the future and what is too far, etc. Now if it's ever performing in your area, definitely check it out. Now I bring this up as I could see the similarities between Sticks and Stones and this week's episode, as the themes in tonight's episode were very strong, such as keeping with tradition, the fear of uncertainty about the future, loss of family, the demons of war, how the consequences of war can follow us even if the war is long over. With these themes present, Demons of the Punjab proves to be one of the strongest episodes of Series 11 so far. Our TARDIS team did have plenty of standout moments here, particularly from Yaz and Graham. I feel Yaz is now worthy enough to be part of this TARDIS team. Episodes like Rosa and Demons this week give Mandip Gill great material to work with in my opinion. My favourite moment, and it was also my favourite moment from Graham as well, but I'll touch upon that in a bit, is the revelation of her grand's previous unknown marriage. She feels betrayed and lied to by her own family. Now again, I might be the only one who's picked up on this, but her family do seem to take her a little bit for granted, like her dad and sister we saw in Arachnids in the UK. Though then again, this is a legitimate reason, as we see in the end. However, it was still a good moment, as Yaz is probably thinking, if my family won't trust me, then why should I? As for Graham, his best moment this week also came from his conversation with Yaz about her gran, saying that it's alright as Umbreen, played by Amita Suman, I hope I pronounced that right, isn't her gran yet. I also loved how he talked about living in the moment and figuring everything out later. Even though, as Yaz said, it is easier said than done, just look at what they've been doing with the Doctor. They've been travelling through time and space, and even though no one, if they talk about this at home, will believe them for what they've seen, but no one can take away this wonder and excitement that they've had. And when I first watched that, I just wanted to go into the screen and give Graham a massive hug. Just brilliant stuff in my opinion. As for Ryan, I don't think he had much to do when compared to everyone else, but he was just serviceable in my opinion. He served the plot fairly well, but he just didn't have that many standout moments this week. Heck, I'd argue last week gave him more standout moments, and I didn't even like that episode that much. And while Tosin Cole, as usual, gave a great performance, he felt kind of like the spare part in this. It's almost like he was written in at the last minute, but, or as Mickey Smith once put it, if he felt like the tin dog. Also, speaking of Ryan, has anyone noticed that his dyspraxia hasn't been mentioned much since the premiere? Don't get me wrong, I'm not expecting him to look at the camera and tell the audience I have dyspraxia, but I thought it might have affected him a bit more, like it did in The Woman Who Fell to Earth, where he struggled to ride a bike or climb a ladder. I mean, is it just me that would like to see this issue explored a bit more, making sure that he won't let it become a hindrance and he will overcome it the best he can. Though, if anything, these are minor nitpicks, nothing too major. As for the Doctor herself, I honestly think that this was her best performance so far, as everything this week just felt so genuine and doctorish. Yeah, I just made that word up. My Jodie Whittaker moment of the week, though, has to be when she learns the truth about the Tijarian. From the look and sound of them, they seem like demons that come to kill people around the village, and in truth, the Doctor did as well. She thought that these were assassins, but when they were revealed to be witnesses to dying people to ensure that no one dies on their own, her expressions were fantastic. Being proven wrong, but instantly apologising by copying their gesture of respect, which is that, for the dead. It's always a joy for me when the Doctor is proven wrong. This is someone who has lived a long life and has seen things that none of us would believe, but being proven wrong is a rarity that we see. It's not portrayed as being incompetent on the Doctor's part, but more in line of the episode's themes of not wanting to change from tradition and believing that people will still hold those traditions no matter what you do. Speaking of thematic writing, this episode certainly had a lot. Its most prominent was the upholding of tradition, such as Manish, played by Hamza Jitua, I hope I pronounced that right, I'm so sorry if I haven't, trying to enforce segregation between the Muslims and Hindus after hearing the news of the partisan. He argues they'll feel safe, but his brother Prem, played by Shane Zaza, argues that why should this day change centuries of living together? But you can also see where Manish is coming from. Both sides can have a fresh start. Why should that be a bad thing? I really enjoyed them both as characters. They're both brothers, and it pains for both of them to be on different sides, and both actors, I thought, just knocked it out of the park in my opinion. The final scene where Manish is bringing, metaphorically speaking, the future with him to ensure that partisan is enforced, that was fantastic, I thought. And I think it put Manish as my favourite villain of the series so far, but not in the sense of I enjoyed of how evil he was or he wanted to wreak havoc because mwahaha he's evil, but it's just how tragic his story is. The best villains in my opinion comes from those that you can understand, those that you can even sympathise with and even get on their side. Manish genuinely believes that what he's doing is right, even if it means turning against his own brother. Prem is devastated by it, but he must confront what he sees by the demons of his own family. Manish even argues that Prem even fought for this freedom during the Second World War, but Prem just counter-argues saying, I didn't fight for this future. I also really like the concept of the Vajarians, and they fitted with the episode's themes of sacrificing what you want for a better future. Their species used to be assassins, and the Doctor knows them by that, but because of their terror they destroyed their own world, which is why they changed to being witnesses of death for the survival of their own species. It was quite fitting how this episode was actually transmitted on Remembrance Sunday, as it's a time for remembering those that gave their lives for the generation of today. The Fajarians make sure this happens so no one dies alone and that everybody is remembered. In fact, it reminded me a lot of the testimony from Twice Upon a Time, and given how that episode went down with a few fans, I don't know if they're going to like that. Now, as you can tell, I am rabbiting on about the moral dilemma of this episode, but that's the sign of a great episode for me, when you can't stop talking about its themes and dilemmas. From a production standpoint, the episode did look fantastic. Jamie Childs, who directed the premiere, The Woman Who Fell to Earth, I think, definitely knocked it out of the park, as the Indian countryside was a gorgeous looking landscape. Though my favourite shot was definitely when Prem went to confront his brother Manish, and the sunset silhouetted him into the field. It was just a beautiful shot in my opinion. It looked fantastic, almost like something out of a film. Segun Akinola also gave us his best score to date in my opinion, making use of a choir that really added to the atmosphere, making sure that those emotional moments hit their high points. Also, can we please stop putting music over the end theme? Yeah, it's nice and all, but don't take away the Dot 2 theme, guys. That's not on. Now, if I did have any nitpicks with this episode, it would probably be, as I mentioned before, Ryan didn't have much to do, and it did start off a little slow in my opinion. On first viewing, I was kind of checking my watch a bit, phone, in the first half. Luckily, the episode more than picked up in the second half, and watching it a second time, it definitely didn't feel as much of a drag first time around. Also, I should mention, why did the Fajarians feel the need to project themselves into the Doctor's head at the start? I mean, if anything, that's just going to make them look even more suspicious. It just seemed a little pointless. I mean, the effect looked pretty decent, and I thought, whoa, who are these guys? But ultimately, it was just kind of pointless. But yeah, that's the only things I can think of this episode that kind of lacked, in my opinion. Now we're on to the section of what did you guys think? As usual, I put out a tweet on Twitter asking you to tweet me your thoughts below, and I'll read them out in the review. Now we've only got we've got 2 tweets, but it's from the same person this week, but let's have a look. Darren says, infinitely better than last week, although slow to start, second half much stronger, good ending, 13 had some nice moments, Ryan bit of a spare part, great final scene with Yaz, Graham still outshines nearly everyone, 6 episodes in, still lacking a strong villain, can we scrap the Sonic? And he also put, another random thought, the aliens' reason for being on Earth reminded me a lot of the testimony from Twice Upon a Time. Yeah, I definitely agree, it was definitely better than last week. And yeah, a bit slow on a first viewing, but I think on second viewing it kind of picked up a bit, in my opinion. And definitely in the second half. The second half was very strong. It's some of the best I've ever seen Doctor Who do. And yeah, the ending was very good. It was so heartbreaking, I think. Yeah, I do agree about Ryan being a bit of a spare part. He kind of felt like an afterthought. But I also think you also gave Yaz time to shine. Yeah, but I think it shows kind of maybe they're struggling a bit to balance 3 companions, because 3 companions is a lot for 50 minutes a week. But yeah, hopefully if this TARDIS team sticks around for, say, Series 12, that they improve, and we've got 4 episodes left. Let's hope that we've got an episode where all 4 of them have time to shine. Graham still outshines nearly everyone. Yeah, I agree there. Still lacking a strong villain. Can we scrap the Sonic? Yeah, I agree that we are lacking a strong villain. I mean, I'm not expecting Daleks or Cybermen, but you've got to up your game a little bit here, guys. But I really liked Manish as a villain. You could genuinely see where he was coming from, and you could sympathise with him. But if anything, he's more of a sympathetic villain than a villain that we can enjoy for being cool or evil, if that makes sense. And yeah, the aliens being a lot like the testimony, I agree there. For those of you who don't know, the testimony in Twice Upon a Time took people out before they died. And I think I can't remember about Twice Upon a Time. I need to watch that again. And I know some people think it's an abomination, but I don't think it was that bad. But yeah, I definitely agree there about the testimony. So yeah, thank you for your tweet, Darren. And as usual, if you want your tweets included, I'll stick them in the review and read them out. So thank you. In conclusion, Demons of the Punjab is a superb historical with gorgeous direction, excellent performances, mature thematic writing and a beautiful score, and is definitely a strong entry into Series 11 of Doctor Who. And in my opinion, this is probably the second best episode after Rosa. In fact, I'll put my ranking up here for those of you who are interested. Yeah. Well everyone, that's all from me. Be sure to like and share this video. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of the episode, and I'll see you next time for a kablam. Goodbye.